and then early spring, the teachers write finalize the planned instructional guides and the proficiency scales. And then with 2 of the courses with the AP, we needed textbooks to go with it. And I believe I mentioned that back when the courses were approved. So the first one is AP Psychology. You can see before you the planned instructional guides. This is right from College Board. It's pretty scripted as to what has to be taught, the concepts, competencies, the learning activities, and then how they will be assessed, and the different performance tests that they need to accomplish. At the end, it's on the back of the second page in your handout, or if you're looking at it electronically, if you scroll down, you'll see the textbook, which is the one that was recommended by AP College Board. It's the Meyer Psychology for the AP course, 4th edition, 2024. So it is their planned instructional guide and their textbook for AP Psychology. Any questions for AP Psych? The next one is very similar, AP Human Geography, another course that was approved back in the late fall, early winter. So again, all of the standards from College Board for this course, the concepts, competencies, learning activities, performance task, and then the textbook that is recommended for this course. Why it's so hard to find the name of these textbooks. Just says Human Geography for the AP course, and its copyright is also 2024. Any questions for AP Human Geography? The next few that we're going to go over are just the proficiency scales that were written. So I do believe I talked earlier this year too about with the new weight and cardio center that they were going to split out the strength and conditioning and the strength and the cardio. So you can take strength courses or you can take the cardio and conditioning. So this is their proficiency scales based on the health and PE standards for this new course that was also approved back in the late winter, early fall. So this details the standards that they will be hitting, to what extent the students will be deemed proficient in it, the foundational skills that they need, and then how they'll be assessed. And that was for cardio and conditioning. Any questions for that one? Gettysburg Fact versus Fiction. This is one of the new electives for the 7th and 8th grade course. Again, the proficiency scales, so you'll see on the left-hand side of the document are the standards or eligible content that is being used in this course, the history standards, how it will be determined if students are meeting those proficiencies, the foundational skills, the resources that they're going to use. We already own in-house, so we're not purchasing anything for those. And then some of the other resources that they're going to be using for like closed notes, graphic organizers, that type of thing, and then how they will be assessed for Gettysburg Fact versus Fiction. And I don't know if you'll remember or not, but we had talked about they'll end that course around this time next year with a field trip to the battlefields in Gettysburg. Any questions for that one? So then the next one is history through trivia, and the standards and eligible content for that. Most of these are also through the history, political science standards. So you will also see how students will be deemed proficient in this course, what kind of foundational skills they're learning or hoping to build, and then some of the resources, and then how they will be assessed are over in the right-hand corner, or the right-hand column. Any questions on that one? And then the last one that we have for proficiency scales has quite a few units on here, and this is the new pre-alg course that we talked about needing at the high school level to help with students who are coming into 9th grade who are not quite ready yet for the Algebra 1 course. So these are all based on the pre-alg, algebra standards, and eligible content through PDE, how they will determine if the kids are proficient, also how they are going to help with some of the interventions in building up those foundational skills so the kids will be ready for algebra when they go into 10th grade, and then some of the assessments that they will be using with them. This course, along with our algebra course and some of the courses in the middle school, do use a resource. It's called Formative, which really helps the teachers develop the assessments. They can give immediate feedback. They can see the kids working as they're working on it, and go around and help them. It's not a program. I don't want you to think it's a program. So the teachers design the assessments in here, and then they can see the kids as they're working. The kids can take notes right in it. So it's very interactive, and it gives the teachers and the students immediate feedback on how they're doing in there. So any questions on the pre-alg? Okay. And then the last one we have, the last couple of years, we've had French 1 and French 2 textbooks that have been approved, and now we have students moving into French 3. So this is the next level for French 3 for the textbook that our students going into that level would need. So that is, I believe this will take them through French 3 and French 4, if I'm not mistaken. Any questions on those? Good. The next section here, this is a little beefy, so stick with me here. And I may not be in exactly that way. Okay. So if because I did it by content. And so the first one that I have are the credit recovery for summer school. So we have a teacher for the middle school and a teacher for secondary who will help work with our students who need summer school to either do some remediation or some recovery for credit recovery. And this is mostly in July, and it's Nick Liberty and Mike Baker, and they've been doing our summer school for a number of years. So any questions on our summer school? It's pretty, we haven't necessarily changed. I mean, we've made some inter-program changes, but have been running summer school for a number of years. The next section of scope of work for the summer is the kindergarten teachers who you just met, and it is preparing and planning for those evening events, attending those evening events, and then doing some outreach to the families and communities. So the next bulk of summer scope that you have is for kindergarten. Questions? Also, at the elementary level, we have curriculum that needs to be revised with standards and some resources. So we have elementary, kindergarten is going to be also working on their ELA, and as well as 3rd grade has some work on their ELA, and 4th grade. And if you're wondering why there's some grades for like ELA in the elementary and some for math, when we get to math, and it's not all of them, some of our teachers, who have been working with letters are not as far ahead in the curriculum writing because they've been working on letters. Some of them have had some time where they've been able to work collaboratively throughout the year. So they're just kind of at different spots. So you'll see, like, not every single grade level is on here for this summer. If that was going to be a question for you. Kindergarten math, 1st grade math, 2nd grade math, and 5th grade math. And our math interventionists are also asking for curriculum work to be done this summer. Again, that is ensuring that we are aligned to our eligible content, that our resources are aligned, and with our math interventionist, she will also, we're going to pull our iReady data from our third diagnostic, which hasn't happened yet, it'll happen later here in May. She'll be pulling that so that we can take a look at those scores and have some groupings ready to go at the beginning of the school year. So that's for the math. We've talked about Steele's coming aboard a lot this year, so you'll see that there is writing for science, grades 3 and 4. We gave some release time throughout the school year this year for one of our teachers to really start working on 5 with Mr. Powell, who's been working with those grade levels, so that's why 5th grade's not on here yet. So that was science. And then our last one is K-12. I think you heard Mr. Moran say his one kindergarten teacher is transitioning and she's going over to that ESL position, which is K-12. So she would like some time this summer to work, really, understand the curriculum, get it set up, get her resources in order, and her schedule of students so that she can meet their needs when school starts. So those are the scopes of work that we're asking this committee to recommend to move forward, and along with the proficiency scales and the 3 textbooks.
Do you have any questions about the proficiency scales, the scopes of work? In terms of the curriculum development, so this is efforts for us to enhance our curriculum that we currently have that's being done by our teachers.
Yes. Yes.
Dr. Behrman, to help answer Mr. Lovell's question, we have a curriculum revision handbook that you put together for following. Does this fall into that?
Yes. So I'm not prepared to tell you which grade levels at which here tonight. That's on a huge spreadsheet. But yes, so some of them are still in year 1, where they are, and when I say year 1, that doesn't mean we don't have curriculum for it. We have curriculum for it, but they are in year 1 of the cycle. Some of the curriculums are in year 2, some are in year 3, and some are in year 4. And so each year of the curriculum cycle, I believe did you get a packet last month in your board? Didn't we do the curriculum handbook within the last month?
You told me to hold it.
Oh, you told me. Sorry. So you will have one. I did tell you to hold it, that's right. So you will get the curriculum handbook again because it was approved last year. And so in year 1 it details if somebody is in phase 1 of writing, what exactly it is they're doing during phase 1. If somebody's in 2, 3, 4. Some of those years come with looking at pilots of resources. So if we are using a resource that maybe we've used for a couple of years or longer, and it's not meeting the needs of our students, well, now we need to look at, do we need to pilot something different? Is it not aligned with the standards and eligible content? So there are a couple, I'll just give you a little preview, there are a couple of areas where we are looking to do some pilots this year. So we'll be looking at some resources and then asking for probably narrowing it down to 1 or 2 to pilot in those areas where it's appropriate for the curriculum, and then coming back to the board with our recommendation and a budgetary need for that. It won't be an add without a subtract though. So like if we would bring in, if we would bring in X program and we have this program, we're not going to fund both programs. I don't want to say a program out loud because I don't know what else we're going to be taking a look at. So I don't want to ruffle feathers with naming something that's not accurate. So.
And all of the summer scopes of work already exist in the budget.
The budget, yes, yes. We budget for curriculum work every year because curriculum is not stale. Like we work on curriculum every year in some capacity. The elementary just has so much more of it right now because of letters. For the last 2 years, they've been doing science and reading training on all of our professional development days, where 6 through 12 had those days to write curriculum. They did not necessarily have it, and they also have steels that they're working on. So if you're wondering why elementary's having, that's why. Did you have something to say?
Nope, you said what I was gonna ask you,
Okay.
what was letters? You explained it.
Any questions or comments on our academic topics here? Then are we in favor of moving these requests forward to the full board? Thank you.
Thank you.
Policy review.
Policy review. So we have policy 113.1, discipline of students with disability. The only change you will see is on page 3, referral to law enforcement and reporting requirements. It's new language. It really defines the incidents and how we follow through. And if we have a student with an IEP, they would have to have a positive behavior support plan put into place after an evaluation. So that has been added. That is the only change to 113.1, and that is based on code and law.
Any questions on that?
Policy 113.2 is very similar. So on page 5 of this policy, it does use updated language, law enforcement, which you've heard throughout this year. They really, any place that it's applicable, have added that language about law enforcement. And then on page 5, there are 3 new additions about working with law enforcement and asking or inviting them to come in and learn our de-escalation procedures or tactics, if you will. They don't necessarily come to ours because they're already trained in their own capacities, but we do invite them. We also have to, much like the last plan, if a student has an IEP but does not have a positive behavior support plan, then we do need to do an evaluation, bring the team together, and do a positive behavior support plan to support that student. So those are the 3 new sections within that policy.
Questions?
The next policy is 137, home education program. One of the things that they have added is just making sure that we're maintaining appropriate records in accordance with the law. We maintain records now, but they've just added that as a line item. They've also updated notarized affidavit. So and we do have homeschooled students approved in our district. It is now, though, that if there is, I'm just going to read it. Prior to the commencement of the home education program and annually thereafter, on or before August 1st, the parent or guardian or other persons having legal custody of the child or children shall file a notarized affidavit with the superintendent, which is what they do now. That falls under Dr. Fiaschi. The thing that they have added, which contains certification that the supervisor of the home education program and all adults living in the home and persons having legal custody of a child or children in the home education program have not been convicted of criminal offenses enumerated in school code in accordance with the law. So the affidavit now has to include that as well for them to be able to be approved for homeschool.
So does that mean that they basically, all of the guardians living in the home have to have their clearances?
They don't have to have their clearances, but when they're signing the affidavit, they're saying that they don't have any criminal record that violates school code.
So okay.
Yeah, but we can't require them to get clearances.
Right.
Yeah.
But it would be that in terms of any criminal offenses in the school code, and if they would have been convicted of anything that would deny their clearances, then they can't be in the home school.
I necessarily go everything with school code, but I guess it,
Correct,
It sounds like it's after the fact.
correct.
In other
I
words,
think what this is just making sure the state and requirements are making sure, and this policy is that students that are being in approved or placed in approved homeschool locations are in so with people that are not violating the law regularly. Like, we want to make sure it's approved and that the people are not in violation of the criminal code.
And they can't have, they can't have.
It can't be an approved homeschooling program.
as long as it's not a school. Another section here that is new under hearings, so if we were to be concerned that a student who is on home education is not really receiving or is out of compliance, and we take it to a hearing, and should there be a finding there, it says if a home education program has been determined to be out of compliance, the supervisor or spouse of the supervisor of the home education program is prohibited by law from supervising a home education program for that child or children for a period of 12 months from the date of such determination. So that is a new action that can be found under a hearing. To my knowledge, I don't know that we've ever taken a homeschool student for not meeting their requirements and goals that are set forward. So those are the two big changes in the homeschool. Any questions on that one, on home education? And the last policy is on medication, and the only change on that is on page 4, number 4, if we have a licensed volunteer, so a licensed nurse who is a volunteer, via formal agreement that delineates responsibilities of both the school and the individual, they could administer medications on a field trip. So we would have to have a copy of their license, and we would develop guidelines as to what they could prescribe and the doctor's orders. Any questions on that?
Is the committee in favor of moving the policies forward to full board? All right.
I do not have anything else. I would just say I will not be here on Monday evening. I'll be at the wonderful federal programs conference. So if you are wishing all the teachers a happy Teacher Appreciation Week, I would echo those sentiments as well.
Absolutely. Is there any new business to be brought before the committee?
I just have a question. Do we know how many tickets actually get sold for the daddy-daughter dance?
You have football booster question?
Hmm.
The football boosters, they host that event, so you would need to reach out with Jennifer Lanning, she's the president.
Okay.
I was gonna say, if Tom was still here, I think he went. It would tell you how many people were there.
Well, I mean, I know they limit them, because then they say they're sold out. Because there's some parents that try to get last minute tickets that, as a matter of fact, one guy kind of duped somebody. She thought she was buying tickets because he told her he had some for sale and he didn't have them. Luckily, she didn't already give him the money, but I just wondered why they put a limit on how many they're selling. Like, everybody should be able to go if they want to go.
Could it be it's held at the Eagles, right?
This year
Or
was held at the Eagles.
Eagles. Could it be a capacity thing?
I'm not sure which building they chose, so I probably, I don't know.
It was probably the bigger of the two,
Yeah.
because that one's pretty small.
I'm sure Jen would have a conversation with you.
I was just curious.
Sounds good. Anything else? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.